Hello everyone, it's my pleasure to be one of the speakers of VIC 2020. My name is Đỗ Thị Huyền, and today I'm very glad to present the findings from our research on the impacts of digital games on vocabulary learning of intermediate level students at Văn Lang University. And the research was conducted by two researchers, me as Đỗ Thị Huyền and Ms. Võ Thị Uyên Anh from Văn Lang University. And I'd like to divide my presentation into 5 parts. Firstly, I'll state the objectives of the research, and next I'll review some related literature and present the research procedure and discuss the findings and some conclusion for the research. We were motivated to conduct the research because vocabulary learning is normally considered boring with lots of exercises such as fill in the blanks, choosing the best answers, and so on. And that leads to the lack of students' engagement in vocabulary activities. And it is sometimes true in our own lessons. However, in the digital area, students are increasingly exposed to various computer technologies, software, gadgets, and portable tools like mobile phones. So it requires some changes in methods of teaching a second language using ICT. And some researchers believe that using ICT in teaching a second language will create fun and engaging learning environment to EFL learners. And regarding digital games, they are considered as a form of entertainment, as well as one of the effective tools in education to promote student engagement and joyful learning process. And digital game-based learning are shifted the focus from learning with lectures and written tests to learning with games. And it seems that digital game-based learning has become an indispensable part of modern education. And last but not least, online games are considered as an effective vocabulary learning tool to both learners and teachers, according to Yip and Kwon 2016. And in this study, the researchers employed the two tools, Quizy and Kahoot, and they are the online assessment tool in which a quiz can be presented live as a timed competition and or used for homework with a specific deadline. And furthermore, the resulting data is compiled into a spreadsheet to give the instructor a clear visual of the student's performance in order to analyze trends in which areas might need the most focus in the future. And it's very exciting to see that all the students can play this game easily using their mobile phones. And we review some research studies, and we found out that digital games are stated more likely to influence students' vocabulary compared to paper-based games, according to some research by some researchers in recent years. It is the fact that numerous English teachers have promoted digital games in learning and teaching process, and it has become an interest among the ESL practitioners and teachers. However, we found some research gaps that there is little research on the effects of digital games on vocabulary achievement and the learners' attitudes in tertiary education in Vietnam. So we were motivated to conduct the research, and first and foremost to enhance our students' vocabulary learning in terms of their achievement and their attitudes in learning. And the second one, we'd like to gain an insight into the impacts of digital games on vocabulary learning of intermediate level students at Văn Lang University with the following question. Number one, does using digital games have any significant effects on intermediate EFL learners' vocabulary achievement? And what are the students' attitudes towards using digital games in teaching vocabulary? And most importantly, we'd like to identify the students' difficulties and their suggestions to improve the use of digital games in teaching vocabulary. And next, I'd like to present the research methodology that we employed in our research. We employed the mixed methods. To gain the necessary quantitative data, we conducted pre-tests and post-tests and a questionnaire with Likert skills items. And to get necessary qualitative data, we also embedded some open-ended questions in the questionnaire. The research was conducted at Văn Lang University, which is a private university in Ho Chi Minh City. And there are 25 intermediate students in the control group and 27 in the intermediate students in the experimental group. And they all study general English. And the research instruments employed include the pretest and the post-test, which were extracted from vocabulary type tests designed by Nation and Belger 2007. And the experimental group also took the questionnaire with the Likert skill items. The research lasted in 12 weeks from September the 10th and December 20, 2019. And next, I'd like to present the procedure of the research. Before the treatment, all of the students in the two groups took the pretest to ensure their equality in terms of vocabulary knowledge. And after that, the control group practiced vocabulary they've learned in the lesson in the worksheets traditionally. On the other hand, the experimental group experienced doing the quiz online in Quizy and Kahoot platform. And after the treatment, the two groups both took the post-test. Especially the experimental group also took the questionnaire. And next, I'd like to present the findings from our research. The independent t-test was run to identify if any differences between the two groups before the treatment. So we see that the alpha number indicates that there is no significantly statistical difference between the two groups. So we can infer that the students' vocabulary status before the treatment was equal. And to answer the research question 1, does using digital games have any significant effect on intermediate EFL learners' vocabulary achievement? So the independent t-test will also run, and we can see that the alpha number indicate that there is significantly statistical between difference between the control group and experimental group. In particular, the students in the experimental group outperform the student in the control group in terms of their vocabulary achievement. And to answer the research question number 2, what are the students' attitudes towards using digital games in teaching vocabulary? The questionnaire includes the items to find out the students' perceived improvement in vocabulary learning in terms of their retention and use of vocabulary and their perceived motivation in learning vocabulary. We can see that the means and the SD number, the standard deviation numbers indicates that the students showed their positive attitudes towards digital games. And I think that it's very exciting to see they agreed that digital games should be employed in every class meeting. And to respond to research question 3, what are the students' difficulties and their suggestions to improve digital games using in teaching vocabulary? So you can see in from the table, I found out some theme, and the student found some difficulties in the internet connection with 9 out of 27 students. And some students reviewed that the time limit on each question should be extended because only 30 seconds is not enough for them to answer the question. Just a few of them revealed that they expected more types of games besides Quizy and Kahoot. And regarding the individual reference, it's very exciting to see that the student showed that Quizy is more convenient to use than Kahoot. On the other hand, Kahoot is inconvenient to use since it needed 2 devices to play the games. So from the findings of the research, we come to a conclusion that using digital games can lead to a significant change in vocabulary knowledge. And using digital games can make vocabulary learning more fun and less stressful than using handouts or worksheets. And the student can retain the vocabulary better, and it can increase vocabulary learning outcome. And the student show more engagement and they are more active in class. So we can conclude that digital games is indispensable in teaching and learning process. And that's come to the end of my presentation. Thank you for your listening.